Has the internet become indispensable? We seem to be in the midst of an internet revolution and entering an era of enhanced digital connectivity. The pace of social change resulting from the diffusion of this technology, both in the US and globally, is, by many accounts, dramatic. In less than 10 years, the internet has become indispensable to many people in their daily lives. What are the consequences and implications of this perception? We have the idea that the internet is becoming increasingly essential to families and to society at large. We already know it's been more than 10 years since it was launched and also accepted by the public. Present data supporting everything, and we will develop also the concepts in order to tell you the hypothesis of this new paper. So welcome back to another video where I put forward the papers and the articles that are emerging or just sleeping in the internet. We tend to read a lot of posts nowadays. We tend to watch a lot of short form videos, but what about the researchers out there? So this is a way of me pulling this out to the public and more visible to every one of you to actually see what it's been said around the years on the more academical sphere. So I would like to talk about the increase on this fashion and this nostalgic era about the 2000s, how it was portrayed and how it is portrayed also nowadays. Now, we want to get back to those phones that only enable us to send few messages and to receive calls. So we want to get back when the websites tended to last a lot in order to load, and we only use those to connect with our closest people. That we weren't like looking for feeds, we weren't looking for ads, we weren't looking for Instagram grids, we weren't looking for tweets. We were just looking to connect, and that was it. But what if in the early 2000s, this Y2K back glorification that we had now is coming back, but was it always like perfect during those times? The 2000 era is a very, very important part of history because it was like when the internet was starting to bring more force and people started like using it in a massive way. But that's why today we're going to talk about that period between 2000 and 2004 because something happened in those years that nowadays we cannot live without the internet. And that's why has the internet become indispensable? That's what we're going to find out. We have that the evolution in internet in the general US population over time using data gathered from the Pew Internet and American Life project. We can see here that the number of adult Americans using the internet increased 50% from 2000 to 2003, reaching 126 million users on that year. Most of this increase is accounted for by individuals 30 years and older, although younger users are still the most wired. The increase is recorded among both men and women equally. African Americans show the highest increase during this period, although they still lag behind Caucasians and Hispanics. What do you think about that? Compared to the general population, college students are the heaviest internet users. By 2002, 59% of all Americans had ever gone online, compared to 86% of all college students. College students report that the internet has become an integral part of their education and has actually enhanced their educational experience. It is used for managing all aspects of their academic and social life. The internet is so pervasive in the lives of this generation, it has become a natural extension of themselves. College social life has been fundamentally transformed by the internet. And I ask you, do you feel that you have been transformed by the internet so far? If this was happening back in 2000 to 2004, imagine nowadays, someone growing up in this era. Would that person grow up already consumed by the internet nowadays? Longitudinal data gathered by one of the authors of the part of the National Science Foundation's board projects, NOAA, and point at the Center of Research of Information Technology at the University of California at Irvine supports that contention that the internet has become indispensable in the contemporary social life. The study design included national probability samples of 906 and 1,200 American households from the years 2000 and 2003. But in 2000, over three quarters, 77% of computer owning households in the sample reported having an internet connection in home. By 2003, this figure had jumped to 94%. Both the 2000 and 2003 samples acknowledge the internet to be a major source of communication and information. And I find really curious that nowadays we cannot live without an internet plan for our homes. That that is a must for every home. Back in the 2000s, we still had like cyber cafes. That was like something really common. There are still some nowadays, but it's not so popular anymore. It was like supplying a necessity that with time we actually decided to supply that necessity ourselves because we just couldn't just go back and forth to the cyber cafe. We also needed to have internet in our household. We needed to have internet on our workplace. We needed to have internet everywhere and every time. Big corporations step in, gave us the solution for a craving need. A need we didn't know we even have the necessity to supply. Was the society itself the one that created the need? Where the corporations that created the need was something that was collectively agreed on without even knowing? Was like based on individual decisions that at the end were like so many that we just decided that yeah, we're going to go with this new era and we're going to acquire internet. Otherwise, we won't be in this new technological revolution. Has it always been a need? Is internet a need itself? Let me know. Top in-home applications among regular computer users include email, games and hobbies, news and information, travel and vacation planning, online shopping, and health information. But The biggest changes from 2000 to 2003 are in online banking, from 24% to 60%. Online shopping from 40% to 76%. Gathering health information 46% to 76%. And travel vacation planning. Many other users of computers have developed in the past few years this type of behavior and increase in charts and statistics. For example, other salient applications in 2003 for which data was not available for 2000 are instant messaging, accessing government services, and participation in community activities, all via the internet. These various developments all serve to indicate how the technology has become increasingly domesticated in the last few years. Back in the day, we also have that internet users are increasingly satisfied with their online experiences, or maybe not. In 2000, slightly less than half, 49% of the users were satisfied with the ease of getting online. This rose to nearly three quarters of all users, 71% by 2003. Users are also more satisfied with internet access speed, 32% in 2000 compared to 50% in 2003. Clearly, technological standards and quality are constantly improving, and these technology improvements are having important positive effects on satisfaction. Internet users overall experienced increasing satisfaction from 64% to 76% from 2000 to 2003. But this can be disqualified over the years. This could be debunked, but I encourage you to also think more and start the conversation and discussion in the comments. We also have that as the computer has become virtually indistinguishable from the internet for many people, the change from 2000 to 2003 in perception of computers can be interpreted, in part, as due to the increase in home internet connectivity mentioned previously. From 2000 to 2003, more people reported that computers had become part of their daily routines, 52 to 62%. Facilitated increased with contact with friends, also relative via email around 48 to 54%. Change how they do things at home, also put some people from 40% to 45%. And replace the telephone as the major communication device from 10% to 16%. In somewhat broader terms, over this 3-year period, more people reported that it will be too difficult to manage a life at home without computers from 44 to 50%, and that the computer is as essential as any other home based technology, 39 to 51%. Taken as a whole, these results reveal important developments in internet usage. There have been changes in the internet characteristic of these 2%, can we say that, throughout the years that have developed the internet used to diffuse into new areas. The internet continues to be an information and communication tool, but the types of information sought on the computer have expanded considerably. The internet has also become a major home management tool and is now used extensively for online shopping and financial management. The internet is becoming indispensable to many daily activities, and this was said by 2004. So imagine now. It's important to highlight the internet and the financial services because one of the first things that we were Googling were financial solutions, financial platforms. So entering to a bank, to your own bank online, and trying to gather information, consultation, and everything made our life easier for most of us. So it was a tool that was actually solving needs. So the internet is not the necessity itself, it's actually the need it creates for us and that also solves. But what does it mean for something to be indispensable? The internet has made its mark on people's lives. But what does it mean for something to be indispensable? Notions similar to indispensability have been researched in consumer environments by various scholars who have used equivalent terms such as necessities, essential products, or products one cannot do without. Such indispensable products can be at one extreme very utilitarian and functional, or at the other extreme very symbolic with great personal significance. Products or services of the opposite character, dispensable products, are deemed to be frivolous, unnecessary, wasteful, or products one can do without. We are questioning in this area how consumer dispositions are made towards products and services, the level of dependence, and the process by which products and services achieve the indispensability status. So everything is up to doubt. It is believed that something becomes indispensable if it becomes part of one's daily routine, everyday tasks. Thus, it is important to know that the notion of guaranteed access is closely linked to indispensability. This ritualization provides a sense of security and predictability. Ritualizing daily routines helps people cope with day to day stresses and strains. In the long run, familiar routines can even lead to people to be more efficient and productive and feel more satisfied. For those for whom the internet is a daily ritual, the lack of internet access will be perceived as a disruptive event. Daily routines involve micro level practices. Much of the internet rhetoric includes grand schemes of major changes in the economy and society. While these are certainly worthy of attention, we believe the indispensability of the internet arises not from such grand schemes, but from micro level practices. That is, it is the small things that people use the internet for on an everyday basis that makes it so integral to people's life. And when we think on an Alexa, for example, if you start using it so many times, of course, at the moment that it is ruined, that the device no longer has like a vital life anymore, you are going to miss it. You are going to miss having that device. And you're going to feel the void that that device is going to be producing in your life because of that. Because it helped just waking you up, filling up notes for you. It was like an assistant, right? You didn't have to do all the things by yourself. That is the purpose of it, right? One of it. So now that is if removed, you also just lost that ability some time ago to do all the stuff by your own. And now you're going to miss it. So also using these tools are generating more necessities that then we need to fulfill by acquiring all the tools, and it's like a cycle that cannot end. Now when we're going back to the beginning where we didn't have anything, how many days would you give yourself to not feel that void? What would you do if the internet just shut down and you didn't have it anymore? How would you feel? Finally, it is well understood that some individuals are more technologically savvy than others. They can possess the highest technological capital as well. because they have the technological capital, some of them, they also have the social capital to go with it. The relationship between the technological knowledge of people of their social empowerment has been discussed widely in the literature. The argument presented is that in a knowledge economy, knowledge becomes a critical as well as a controlling resource. The power knowledge it is translated in social capital. This explains why in the internet age so much attention is paid to young people, including children, who seem to be on the forefront of technological developments with the potential to shape the future. The difference between the savvy individuals and those less savvy is one provocative way to define the digital divide. According to one estimate, the tech savvy represented 30% of internet users and includes three subsegments: the technological sophisticates, highly educated, high socioeconomic status individual, and college students. For these groups, the internet is not only indispensable, but a central component of their lives. I'm going to leave it right here because this is a really interesting topic, and I'm glad to wanted to go back to the 2000 because that was like a pudding in human life that was like really critical and important. So I'm going to talk about this, of course, continuing on the next video. And I always do that. I try to like one video to another. And what do you think about this topic? I left some questions for you along the way, so I hope to see your answers in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Have a nice day. Bye bye.